We are pleased to have him back at Willamette University, where we think all of our graduates are the greatest thing since sliced bread. So please join me in giving a warm Willamette University welcome to Shobi Dahl.
Wow. If you told me 17 years ago, when I sat in those very chairs, that I would be up here today giving this address, I never would have believed you. It's brought back a wave of very happy and nostalgic emotions being here at opening days again. But here I stand, speaking in front of you all, thanks in no small part to the skills I learned at my time here at Willamette. I chose Willamette University because of all the great experiences I had here during high school. I came here for music, speech and debate, and even the state mathematics competition. Earlier in high school, I thought I wanted to pursue a career in music, specifically the classical trombone. But during my senior year, I realized that orchestral gigs are really hard to come by, and that most likely I'd end up in music education. Remembering how I had treated my middle school band director, I decided that was not for me. I began thinking more about joining my father, who's here with us today, at the family business, a small but successful wholesale bakery, then known as Nature Bake. I had always enjoyed working at the bakery, even from a young age, helping to scoop muffins, wrap cookies, and run the front cash register. As I progressed into high school, I had the opportunity to work on Sundays and school breaks and always enjoyed learning new bakery jobs. It didn't hurt that it afforded me an unlimited supply of cookies to bribe friends with. My plan coming to Willamette was to do the 3+2 program that allowed you to get an undergrad degree and an MBA in 5 years. I chose economics simply because that was the closest thing to a business degree I thought I could get as an undergraduate, because economics is all about money, right? Little did I know that my choice of economics would transform how I see and interact with the world. You see, that's the thing about a liberal arts degree. It's not about the practical skills per se. It's about building a better thinker and about shaping the lens through which you see the world. I've seen it not only in myself, but also in people that I have hired and worked with. You can teach most people a new skill given a set amount of time, but the ability to think critically, adapt to new situations, and thrive in dynamic environments is something that liberal arts educations are built for. After a while, I learned that economics wasn't really about money. Money is simply the most tangible yardstick we economists have. Economics is, at its heart, the study of human decision-making. It's a fascinating topic that continues to help me evaluate the crazy world that we live in. So let's rewind to 2002, when I was sitting out there. Like you, I had lots of ideas of what being in college would be like. But there's one thing that I was not prepared for: the amount of free time I would find myself with. Yes, you will have classes and classwork, and those will take a significant amount of time. But unless you've chosen organic chemistry as your major, you're probably going to have a lot of time to fill. We all have those friends. I filled my time playing in the music ensembles, which they give you college credit for, participating in the collegiate chapters of the Kiwanis, holding down on-campus jobs at the physical plant, the mailroom, the music building, and the bookstore, and last but not least, the swing dance club. The first few activities were all well within my comfort zone, but the swing dance club, well, that was kind of out of left field for me. I had never even gone to a dance in high school. I somehow built up the courage to go, and it became one of the most enjoyable parts of the week, dancing in the basement of Matthews to swing music, practicing building up courage to ask another person to dance with me, and getting exercise all at the same time. It was a game changer for me personally, and never would have happened had I not stepped outside my bubble. Approaching the end of my second year here, I realized that I only needed one more year's worth of credits to graduate. I began to think about my previously chosen path of continuing to an MBA, and realized that instead what I really wanted to do was go out and build something. I set my class schedule for the last year to finish out my economics degree and set my sights on returning to the family bakery. During my last year here, my uncle Dave, who had spent most of my life behind bars, contacted my dad and said that he was interested in returning to the family bakery after he was set to graduate the state penitentiary system. My dad agreed, and Dave returned to the bakery and began work on new cookies and eventually new bread recipes. I graduated that May and eagerly moved into my dad's basement in Portland. That was the summer that changed everything. My dad, Glenn, had a desire to start a new line of breads that would appeal to a wider and generally younger audience. My Uncle Dave had always been a very creative force and happened to be pretty good at playing the guitar. Glenn's original idea was to have the product be named Dave's Bread, with a picture of Dave and his guitar on the back of the bread. Dave said that if his name and face were going to be on the product, the story of his transformation from four-time loser, which is his words, to being an honest baker had to be there as well. One day, Dave was working on bread recipes, and after baking a new loaf of bread, he wrote the word killer on it. The name stuck, and soon the whole line became known as Dave's Killer Bread. We had been working with a local marketing agency in Portland on a project for Nature Bake, and they told us that it would be a very bad idea to call a food product killer, especially one with an ex-con. We fired them and proceeded on. That summer, we created the Dave's Killer Bread logo using a photo I took of Dave and his guitar in my dad's basement. Dave perfected the first 4 bread recipes, and we planned the launch of Dave's Killer Bread at the Portland Farmers Market Summer Loaf Festival. Dave and I baked the first commercial loaves late in the afternoon, threw homemade labels on them, and loaded our supplies onto a truck. We both worked the booth, slicing up samples of the bread, catching passerbys' attention by yelling, "We've got killer bread, come try our killer bread." We got into a little trouble for being too noisy, but it worked. We watched as people would walk over, grab a sample, and then start to walk away. After taking a bite, they would turn around, proclaim how delicious the bread was, and run and go get their friends or family or whoever they were with. We were such a hit that the farmers market asked us then and there to permanently join the farmers market mid-season. We were elated. The brand took off. We first signed up small grocery stores, then bigger ones came calling. The bakery began bursting at the seams as we tried to fit all the production in. My dad, wisely sensing that this new brand had legs, mortgaged everything he owned to move us into a bigger 50,000 square foot facility. It was a good thing he did too, because shortly after that, we began selling to Costco, and boy, did that change things. We grew at 50 to 100% each year as we struggled to keep up with demand. Slowly, we hired more people in management positions, and by 2011, I began to sense that my dad was ready to spend less time in the office, and I approached him about my taking his place as CEO. He had been secretly planning this transition for quite a while, and thus the change happened pretty quickly. The whole team was mine to lead. I worked hard on building teamwork, drawing from some of the team-based classes I took here at Willamette, such as the business simulation class. I read a lot of management books and started regular team-building meetings. We kept hiring people and soon found ourselves with over 300 employees and a business selling $50 million of bread each year. It's a lot of dough. Had to do it, sorry. Speaking of those employees, I'd like to take a quick step back in time and tell a story about one of the biggest successes we had with Dave's Killer Bread. One day, when we were discussing hiring a new round of employees to expand our production capabilities, we came upon the realization that we had been hiring a fair amount of employees with criminal records. So many that roughly 1 out of 3 of our employees fell into that category. The real epiphany was when we realized how loyal and hardworking these employees were. Here we had a situation where the market had a glut of prospective employees with criminal records and a very low demand for them. See, most employees will not even so much as consider you if you have a recent criminal record. Ex-cons generally struggle to find both jobs and permanent housing after release, creating a negative feedback loop that is a huge factor in our country's embarrassingly high recidivism rate. This meant we were able to hire some amazing employees that became incredibly loyal to our company. One such employee in particular was such a great hire that after starting as an oven operator, he received promotion after promotion until he was the plant manager. Eventually, this message of hiring ex-cons became a major part of our company's messaging, earning us quite a bit of press and opportunities to encourage other employers to follow suit. Giving ex-cons a second chance opportunity is still the part of the story that I am the most proud of. Today, the Dave's Killer Bread Foundation continues evangelizing the second chance employment message across the country. Another amazing modern development is the Inside Out prison exchange program going on at colleges around the country, and I believe here at Willamette as well. The program centers around a college class that is taught inside a prison with half college students and half inmates. The class can be on any topic, but generally focuses on the completion of a class project to facilitate dialogue across difference. If there's one thing I know, it's that our prison problems are not going to go away by ignoring them. And I can think of no better people to be involved in a program like that than young men and women in college. I hope those interested will take a look at the program. I believe the one here is offered through the politics department. Back to the story about Dave's Killer Bread. We had been working with a family business counselor to keep Dave, Glenn, and I from killing each other when we disagreed, because things got pretty bad sometimes. On a few occasions, he had brought up the idea of bringing in an equity partner to help us manage the business as it grew larger. After a particularly taxing but successful 2012, I called a meeting between my dad and Dave and suggested that we seriously look at bringing in some strategic investors. We decided that we would search for investors who would help us bring in a professional management team and allow the three of us to each take a step back. After a whirlwind tour of interviewing potential candidates, we closed a deal just before the year ended. By the middle of 2013, the new management was in place. We grew the company for 2 more years, finishing out our plan to be in all 50 states, and soon after, we got the proverbial offer we couldn't refuse. 10 years after it all started, we had sold the baby to Flowers Foods. I'm often asked if I regret selling the business, to which the answer is always no. We accomplished a great deal in building and running that company, and I feel like we would have been in the way of what the company has now become had we stayed. I'm also often asked if I miss being there, and of course the answer to that is yes. But the reality is what I miss is the people. Surrounding yourself with people who want to work with you to succeed is worth more than I can say. This is one of the biggest advantages to your choice to attend a small liberal arts university. Here you actually have access to your professors. And from my experience, each and every one of them wants to help you succeed. Please make sure you use their office hours. I assure you that you won't regret seeking their insight. Both at Willamette and at Dave's Killer Bread, I regularly made use of one-on-one time with people who knew more than me, and I am a much more capable person for it. I'd like to leave you now with just one more thought. You only have a few short years here at Willamette. The tools for your transformation are scattered around you, in and outside these buildings. It is up to each of you to take risks, to step boldly outside of your comfort zone and make the most of these 4 short years. Those of you that do so are bound to succeed. Thank you.